Good morning again, students. This video content is the second part of the chapter, the story of village Palampur. In the first part, I made you clear about the factors of production. That for producing anything, we need four things: land, again reminding you, labor. Then third was physical capital with the two part working capital and fixed capital. And fourth, as I said earlier, that is human capital we shall be discussing in the chapter number 2. Now quickly moving to the next heading given in your textbook, that is farming in the Palampur. Your book is wanting you to take to the Palampur, that what are the situation. And under this heading there is a subheading, land is fixed. When we say land is fixed, there are two meanings. One about the Palampur that has been described over here, and second that you must understand that land is something which is most important resource for factor of production, but at the same time it is something which cannot be increased by liking, no matter in which whatever area we are living. Otherwise things could have been very easy. If suppose a person who is living in a small house could have increased the size of the land and would have been in a state of making a big size of house. Government could have made more spaces available, especially in a country like India where now rising population is pressurizing us to have more and more space, but unfortunately we don't have. That's why we are moving to the flat culture where our horizontal movement has stopped and vertical movement is taking place. That's the only one aspect that you must make clear. The size of the land is something we cannot increase, it is fixed. Now considering in the terms of Palampur, what it means, your book is telling that 75% of the population living in Palampur is based on agricultural productivity. They are doing farming, and farming in the two category. Few people are farmer and other who do not have their own piece of land are working in the field of other farmers and being paid daily wages. So farm laborer, the word we will use for them. It is being mentioned that since 1960 there has been no increase in the cultivation area, because I said that if the size of the land is fixed, constant, you cannot increase the size of cultivation until reducing some other area, maybe houses for the residential purpose or the forest area or something like that. It is being mentioned that since 1960 no such improvement has taken place, leaving few exceptions, that is some wasteland could have been added, that is exceptional. Along with this, book has provided a box in which you are being given information that the land standard unit of measuring the size of the land is hectare, and 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 square meter. If you consider it as a square, it is 100 into 100 is meter. So 100 into 100 meter is equal to 10,000 square meter. Also it is mentioned that the village people do have their own measuring unit like bigha or guintha. Not much has been said, so we would be moving to this. We would be moving to the next topic. I hope if you have a village background, you can be asking your parents about what the bigha is equal to. In different area, the size of the bigha changes. That's why we follow a standard unit which is hectare. Now next heading in your book is there a way one can grow more farms from the same land? In the first heading we discussed the size of the land cannot be fixed. Size of the land is fixed. I'm very sorry. If size of the land is fixed and we are continuously finding that the population is growing, what need to be done? We need to have more food resources for them, but area cannot be increased. So as I said earlier that when you will be going to the Palampur, it will be resembling like it is the part of western Uttar Pradesh, and it is being mentioned that in a single year every piece of land is being used again and again. How it will be having a negative consequences we shall discuss, but what is mentioned that in the rainy season in Palampur there is a jowar and bajra's production take place, which is being used for the cattle feed. Then between October and December there is a potato being produced. October and December is the month in which after once the December is over in the winter season, wheat is the main main produce that is taking place in the Palampur. Wheat is something as a source of earning also. The rich landlords who are in possession of big land do produce enough wheat First they keep certain amount for their family, and remaining they give it to their uh, uh, they consider it as a surplus and sell in the market and make some good money. For a small farmer, literally it is not possible, because the production is only sufficient for their family to survive. Okay, this we will discuss in the coming part of the chapter. uh, After the wheat, there is also sugarcane taking place, sugarcane production taking place, which is being used to make the jaggery. I said earlier, गुड़ बनाने के काम आता है. uh, Now, question is how such production is possible. So I said earlier that Palampur is a very well developed village where there is electricity available. That's why the good source of irrigation like tube wells, Persian wheels are shown over here. It is mentioned that in the early 1970s, the decade of 70s, first tube well was set up by the government. After that, many rich landlords have initiated and established the tube well. But this is, as I said, this is the reason in the beginning of the chapter that Palampur is a hypothetical one, because if you will go to the real village, we do not have such a good irrigation facility. Your book itself is telling you that not all part of India, especially in Deccan Plateau, you cannot be expecting such a good irrigation where irrigation is not there. Naturally the productivity will be suffering, and we will be depending more on the monsoon. Second issue, that is about that if agriculture is not so good, how in other area production do take place. To help you understand how production can be increased, it is not only that good irrigation is there, we should be making the land to be utilized in a different manner. Let me tell you, you have studied a word shifting cultivation in your junior classes. I am sure it was there in the geography section. Shifting cultivation was something used. I don't have board over here to explain, so I am using, suppose I have a piece of land, and earlier when there was not a pressure of the population to provide plenty of food as today required, farmers were never compelled to use all piece of land all together in a single year. So what they were using their piece of land, dividing it into the 3 part or 4 part. So suppose first year they have used 1/3, or in a single year only 1/3 piece of the land is being used for the production of a particular crop. Once this crop is being cultivated, harvesting is done, next year or the next time the another piece of land is being used and given rest to the previous which was used earlier. Third time another piece of land being used. That's how the 3 portion of the land being utilized one after another, giving rest to the land. Resting to the land means giving them time to regain their fertility for good productivity in the coming year. Students, now it has become difficult. Now it has become difficult because our population is rising, but the size of the land cannot be increased. So we are not now having the luxury of using the piece of land and leaving certain area. We are using all piece of land again and again in a single year, which is called multiple cropping. You understand that what would be the consequences if you will continue to have the productivity from the same piece of land. Land will not be giving good produce because it will end up with a poor fertility, or it might lose its fertility completely. You will be compelled, farmers will be compelled to give the land some rest. So in modern times, to increase the productivity from the same piece of land, one way that we use is called multiple cropping. Multiple cropping means in a single year piece of land is being used again and again. Now another method is called modern farming method. Over these years, science has made lot of development in the field of agriculture production, and what it is being done, that from the same piece of land productivity can be increased by providing few things. Number one, scientifically developed seed, high yielding variety seeds. This is developed by the scientists, which can have a higher productivity, but the negative side of this is that it required lot of water. It required plenty of water for the irrigation. Its shortcomings we shall be discussing later. Apart from that, it will require the pesticide, fertilizer, chemical fertilizer. It is also not very good considering modern development and the impact in the society what we are going through. But student, important is that this modern farming method has proved to be a very good. You people must be knowing that in 1960, government of this country, government of India has decided to bring the green revolution. I hope you are aware about these four words: green revolution, white revolution, blue revolution, and yellow revolution. If not, let me explain you very quickly. Green revolution is all about increasing the agriculture productivity. Yellow revolution is all about increasing the oil production. White revolution is all about increasing the milk production. And the blue revolution is about increasing the production of the fisheries. These are the four. In this chapter we will be discussing only the green revolution. And in green revolution, what happened that in Punjab area, the productivity, in Haryana area, in western part of Uttar Pradesh, the productivity of wheat has remarkably improved. That's why today we find that these are the prosperous area. You will find the prosperity compared to Bihar, the position of the farmers of Bihar, and compare the position of the farmers in Punjab and western part of Uttar Pradesh. You will find that the farmers are very prosperous in this region only because green revolution was brought in the decade of 60s. Similarly, in the southern part, the Tamil Nadu was the region where the paddy was the crop which was used, where the productivity was increased. Student, I'm stopping over here. Reason is that I've been suggested that my video content has to be not more than 12 to 13 minutes, because then it becomes a problem for the uploading. I shall be discussing the next content in the further content in the next video. Thank you.